Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Zara, and I'm Nezha's Client Relationship Manager at eToro. Nezha, thank you so much for hosting the conference call this evening. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat, and then Nezha will get to them at the end of the presentation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on my first conference call. I hope you will like it and learn something new. So today I will talk about myself, about my investing career and my portfolio and future views. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Neža Molk. I come from Slovenia and I'm elite popular investor here on eToro. If you would like to get in contact with me, you can write me on eToro or any of the media you see on this slide. Please be careful with Instagram since there are few fake accounts and my only account is Nezatron.investor. Besides investing, I'm also a master student of biotechnology. I have just came back from my student exchange in Vienna, and now I'm working on my master thesis in University Medical Center in Ljubljana. I also did my internship in UK in Naya BMR company, and I'm working in a startup called Longevice. When I'm not studying or investing, I love to travel. I have spent 1 month volunteering in Gambia, where I was working in a clinical lab in one of the public hospitals. I also love to spend my free time in nature, hiking, surfing, or skiing. I got into finance world when I was a teenager because I realized that my savings will slowly start to lose their value on my bank account if I don't do anything. So I decided to start investing. I joined eToro in March 2020 when markets crashed due to Corona crisis. And I became a popular investor in March 2021. As I already mentioned, I'm on elite level now. I have passed my CC certificate in wealth and investment management in October last year, and I'm planning to do next one this year. And I'm very proud to say that I've been recognized as a value investor by eToro. I'm really grateful for that because this gives me a confirmation that I'm on the right path, and I'm very happy for everyone that I met through that program. Because of, since I'm a popular investor, I had few media opportunities. I've been invited on a web summit in Lisbon where I had a chance to meet other popular investors and people working at eToro. I also had Instagram Live with Invest With Her campaign that is encouraging women to join finance. And I appeared on the most popular Slovene TV channel and share my thoughts for Invest in Goal and Forbes Czech Republic. At the moment, my AUM is $4 million US. I have 3,600 copiers, 40K followers, and my portfolio risk level is 3. Now I would like to tell you more about my investing strategy. As I mentioned, I'm following value investing strategy. I'm investing on a long term. That means that I would like to keep positions that I have for more than just a few years. My portfolio consists of stocks and ETFs. I don't have any crypto in it. I'm not using shorting or leverage. My portfolio is purely based on diversification among different companies that operate in different sectors. My analysis is based on company fundamentals. I'm looking for undervalued companies with strong fundamentals. I'm always concerned about macroeconomic strengths and geopolitical interests. And I always do a sector analysis research before I decide investing in a specific company. Now I would like to tell you more about my performance so far. On this slide, you can see my fact sheet. As you see, I have gained a total return of 171%. And in last 12 months, I gained almost 18%. We started this year with slightly red numbers due to geopolitical tensions and high inflation. You can also see that in this slide, where you can see my performance based on a monthly basis. In 2020, I have gained almost 127%. And that is due to the fact that I joined eToro in March, when markets crashed due to Corona crisis and then rebounded in the following months. In 2021, I decided to switch completely to value investing strategy, and I sold my positions in high growth companies, and I will stick to that strategy in the future. And as I mentioned, in this year, we have seen some red numbers. To compare my performance with major indices, I made few graphs. In this one, you can see my trailing 12 months compared to SP 500 and Nasdaq. As you see, my performance in past 12 months is almost 18%, and I outperformed both of the indices. SP 500 is at 5.93% and Nasdaq at 1.68%. If we focus only on this year's performance, you can see that I also I'm outperforming both of the indices. My portfolio has shown to be resistant so far, and I am at minus 2.6% at the moment, and SP 500 is at minus 12% and Nasdaq at minus 19%. If I tell you more about my portfolio, you can see that I have it diversified between different assets. In my portfolio, I have almost 70% of my portfolio is in equity. I have 18% in cash, 10% in ETFs, and 3.14% in bond ETFs. I also keep my portfolio well diversified among different sectors. Major sectors in my portfolio at the moment are non-energy minerals, electronic technology, and health technology. You can also see all others in this slide. Despite assets and sector diversification, I have also well-diversified portfolio among different regions. I have most of my investments in US market, and smaller part present Europe, China, Australia, and UK. I had more exposure to China market, but I closed all of the positions I had, and I only have one ETF. Now I would like to tell you more about my future views. Right now, as you probably know, everyone is talking about geopolitical tensions and war in Ukraine. I think that this has a huge impact at the moment, since Russia is supplying Europe with natural gas, and both Russia and Ukraine are important exporters of grains, and that has a huge impact on food prices. The goods part right now in the world is pandemic, that we see that COVID is in remission, and we see less and less cases each day. I hope that it stays like that, and that we will be able to fully reopen soon. Everyone keeps eye on inflation. In past 2 years, inflation has grown tremendously, and right now, this week, actually, Fed is meeting again, and we are expecting interest rates to rise. And this will probably also have a huge impact on stock market. But so far, I think that my portfolio performed well in those months. And my past decisions shown that quite resistant at the moment. Yesterday, I asked you if you have any questions that you would like me to answer today on this call. So I decided to write down the most common questions. First one is, should I copy open trades or not? So if you start if you're just starting copying, then I highly suggest that you copy open trades. But if you're just adding funds, I think that you should check how much funds I have uninvested. And you should keep in mind that if you decide to copy open trades, you will open all positions again. So you should think of how that impact your tax report at the end of the year. Then we had a question, what is the minimum copy amount? So minimum copy amount by eToro is $200, but I suggest copying with at least 600, because if you copy me with less than 600, then you won't open all positions that I have in my portfolio. Then there is one question that that keeps repeating, is why you don't invest in crypto and blockchain. I had small position in ADA last year, but I decided to stay out of crypto and blockchain for now, because simply because I haven't learned about it enough to be comfortable enough to invest in it. But I think that it is a good way to diversify your portfolio among different assets. And I will let you know if I change my mind about it. And next one is, what do you expect from markets this year? As I mentioned on my future views, the biggest effect this year will have how this war will resolve, COVID, and rising interest rates. I am because all of that, I'm expecting more volatility and smaller gains this year. But that doesn't mean that we should freak out or get scared, but just to prepare well for all possible scenarios. How are you preparing for rising interest rates? For rising interest rates, I am preparing with investing in stable companies, preferably in those that are paying out dividends. And I am also invested in US Bancorp, which gives me exposure to a financial sector that tends to perform well in rising interest rates environment. I also got a question about how I prepared myself for a war in Ukraine and how I prepared my portfolio for that. So I have, even before, I've invested in military defense stock, and I increased position in that stock. I also increased my positions in non-mineral mining and precious metal stocks. And so far, I think it is a good hedge. Now I am ready for all questions that you have and you would like to ask me. I'm happy to answer. Let me check the chat. First one is, can we have a comparison of performance of Max Drawdown with, okay. Yes, I can do that and I can present it next time. How often do you review and make changes to your holdings? At the moment, I'm happy with all of my holdings, almost all of them. So I review them every time when they when they have earnings reports, and also in between, I'm always checking their news. Could you please give more detailed info on copying or your open positions to help us make better decision on this? So copying open positions when you are adding funds, you can also ask me in the comments under my posts if I recommend copying open positions at the moment or not. Because when you add funds and copy open positions, that means that you will open all my positions all over again. So you will have lots of them. And that might be good if you don't have any problem with tax report, but otherwise it might be a problem. How often are you adding funds, monthly or quarterly? That totally depends on the situation. I don't have a specific time frame when I'm adding funds. I always let you know at least a week before I add funds, so you have enough time to prepare. And right now markets are bleeding, so I'm adding when markets correct. Is there any other question?
You're also welcome to unmute yourselves and introduce yourself and ask a question too.
If there are no other questions, you can also write me anytime, and I'm happy to answer all your questions. Oh, we have a new one. I guess I'm curious if you made any changes due to the situation in Ukraine, or if you're just holding long. I have increased my positions in military defense stock and in Rio and BHP, but I'm still just holding long. And you have to know that I had them from before, that I didn't open them right now, but I just increased my position. What do you think Fed will do regarding the high inflation, short-term and long-term, and how you have prepared for this? For rising interest rates, I am prepared with companies that are really stable, and higher interest rates means that taking loan will be even more expensive. So I decided to close companies that have really high, that are really relying on debt, because I think that they will have harder time paying it off in the future. Do you think that US index are overvalued? Do you expect them that will go down further? I am expecting more corrections. I think that they are overvalued for sure, especially because of the tech sector, that many stocks there are really overvalued. But here, of course, not all the sectors. You can still find some sectors and some companies that are undervalued and their price is fair. Can you give us an example of overvalued stocks? Overvalued stocks, I think that some growth stocks are overvalued. For example, Tesla and Bio-Nanogenomics, for example, because their price is just not reflecting their true value. There is a recommendation of how much copiers should invest, average value. So I recommend not recommend, but I suggest that you copy with at least 600 to get all the position, but it always depends on your financial situation. I think that everyone should invest only that money that they are still prepared to lose, and don't there is no perfect perfect amount of how much should you invest. What do you think about PayPal? Do you think it will continue dropping? Any idea on Peloton? I think that PayPal is becoming fairly valued and it has a great future prospects. But I don't want to get tell any more details than that. And Peloton, I never focused on that because it's a high growth story, and I never even checked their. I never focused and I never considered investing in them.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for joining, everyone. Oh, last question. What about Alibaba, Neja?
I had Alibaba before, but as I mentioned, I decided to get out of all my positions in China. I only have ETF, and Alibaba is in that ETF. And here is huge. Here is they're facing a systemic risk. And I don't want to be exposed by directly investing in a specific stock in China, including Baba. That's why I decided to invest in ETF. And in this ETF are really huge, like China, huge China companies that have a great future prospects, but we will see what will happen with the risk they're facing because of China itself.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Neja. And we're really looking forward to Q2. And of course, if anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to write on Neja's feed. She gets back to everyone, which is great. And yeah, everyone have a great evening.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm happy that I had my first conference call and I hope that you like it. And yeah, write me anytime and I'm happy to answer all your questions.